Hi, I'm Sarah Jane.
Hi, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Fleur. Hello. And we are Hand to Health, three art psychotherapists.
Welcome to our podcast. This is the Spirit of Creative Entanglement.
And we're really excited to introduce our guest today, Kate Beckwith. Kate works as a child and adolescent psychodynamic psychotherapist and is the founder of Kate's Garden, a therapeutic practice with a difference, utilizing nature, animals, art, and play located in a natural woodland environment. As a TEDx speaker, Kate has discussed her therapeutic practice and how the environment impacts us in her talk, Opening the Doors. And Kate has an arts education background. She's worked in a variety of settings, such as mainstream education, universities, pupil referral units, and youth offending teams. She also works with arts assisted therapy and continues to work in educational settings and in her private practice, offering one-to-one counselling, group counselling, consultation, and CPD. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. It's
Yeah.
really nice to sit here and listen to everything I've done and go, oh, that's quite
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
From the
Such
back there,
richness.
Kate. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, such a lot there for us to sort of think and talk about with you. And we'd like to invite you maybe to start us off by telling us about the object you've brought to share with us today.
Thank you so much. So in Kate's style, I've actually brought two objects because I find the whole one thing quite difficult. And my first object, I can count it as one, I think, it's multiple. But I've just got this hanging on my wall in my therapeutic space. So as we'll talk about, I've got this indoor therapeutic space, which is kind of your more traditional, still child-led Montessori style where people can do whatever they want. And I've got bits and pieces that they can pick up. So this is just one of the objects. And I thought it kind of represented things quite nicely. Because it could literally be anything. It could be an invisibility cloak. We could like
Mm.
disappear and hide away from the world. It could be princess. We have lots of people doing princess hair and being the princess and being all very, grand and yeah, all of that. Or it could be, it could be a cape for a king or something like that. So yeah,
Mm.
this symbolic play and this role play part of the therapeutic work. And it can also just be like something to fidget and something to do while you're speaking, because I realized that actually, I don't know about you guys, but so I have ADHD. Let's just start with that. And actually, I discovered this through the work with my clients. I didn't know until very recently. And I realized that actually I find it so much easier to speak when I'm doing something else at the
Yeah,
same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that is similar with you guys.
that
Yeah.
absolutely resonates.
That resonates, Kate.
Yeah. It just kind of just grounds me and just gives me, I don't know, if it's like I need multiple things to do at once, and so this gives me another thing to do. So
Mm,
this can come back online.
yeah.
So yeah, I've got this, which also kind of represents this movement and this free flow, I
Mm,
guess, in this kind of quite
yeah.
arty way.
Yeah.
So I've got all of this stuff. Um, and I've also got, I went out just before the podcast started. I went out into the garden, and this was ideal for me because it's like back into the garden space, a bit of grounding where I feel most kind of, and just to preempt that with like, just to mention that actually I find this stuff really quite nerve-wracking, this whole being recorded, being on stage, like performing all of this stuff. And that's why when I spoke in my TED talk, I really focused a lot on what it feels like to be the focus,
Yeah,
to be on a stage and to have that kind of pressure, this one go, or this, what are other people going to think of me? What's the perception? Um, and so, yeah, I found it quite nerve-wracking coming on and speaking with you guys today. You've already put me at ease, which is really lovely. But going out into the garden and just grabbing a bit of grass
ah,
that I've just got loads of it just for the visual effect. But as I walk around with my clients, I tend to find myself just quite naturally. I had no idea that I needed to do this. I had no idea that I would start doing this when I started working outside, but I'll just quite naturally pick up one of these and I'll just kind of snap it as we go. And
Yeah.
that's it. Or I'll kind of twist it around my finger like I did with the material.
Mm.
And just that helps me to slow down,
Mm.
and it helps me to not be so concerned about filling up this space and not so concerned about having an answer or anything there at all.
Mm.
Just slowing it down to being again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's already working. I'm doing it
Yeah.
now.
It reminds me, Kate, of just being in contact with where you are in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, you've got that something that's tangible that just sort of ties you to the moment. So that you know, I hear you talking about sort of walking along with your clients, or if you're when you're outside, but that's you, I guess, having contact, and then it allows you to be much more present, I suppose, in your work. Yeah.
Absolutely does. Yeah. So a lot of my work really is, it's part of, I suppose I'll get to describing the setting, but it's in part it's helping put the client in the physiological position, but it's also helping put me into the physiological position
Yeah.
to connect and
Yeah.
do the work. And so that's highly important. And I think as therapists, sitting down and being, I suppose it's different with art therapy, like you guys, because there's always something to do, there's always something else there. But the idea of sitting down in a chair, facing each other, this kind of sense that maybe we need to have this eye contact,
Mm.
um, this standardized way of working isn't working
Yeah.
actually in lots of ways, and actually it's becoming a barrier, and it's making things quite formal and claustrophobic, and actually we're trying to get unstuck, not more stuck. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And there's something in your first object that you brought that is so important to us in our work as well, and that's play. That's this ability to play and to support play. And I love that, the way that you were describing all these different ways that you can use just this one piece of material and the number of different things that can be and can become. And it's fascinating. I work with children and adults as well, and it's really fascinating. With children, almost it's easier to bring play, but with adults, introducing play is so fascinating, and what that then can open up, and maybe a space or a part of them that they haven't attuned to in such a long time. So I really love that object.
It's honestly, oh, sorry, you go.
No, carry on, Kate. It's okay.
I was just going to say it's so much easier working with children than it is with adults. That's what I was going to say.
I think there's but that reminds me of that kind of sense of freedom, that
Mm,
movement that you had with the material. And I just thought, yeah, it kind of it speaks to what you're saying in terms of having that freedom within the therapeutic space to be able to move, to adjust, to be flexible, to be, and I'm just noticing how that important it is, for your work. And I think that I mean, I certainly find it important in my work as an integrative art psychotherapist that we have different dimensions to be able to work within. And for me, the word freedom comes up and that flexibility to be able to do that. Yeah.
This is absolutely it. This freedom of choice is central to my work. So it's nature, animals, art, play, and freedom of choice and the psychodynamic psychotherapy is the thing that underpins everything. But really coming back each time to this freedom of choice, because we're really helping people to understand what's going on internally, and to reconnect with actually what they feel and what they need, and to be able to notice how they feel externally in this very physical sense. Are they cold? Are they, do they need to move? Do they need to sit quietly with the animals? Do they need to be inside in this kind of more containing environment? Do they need to be outside? jumping up and down on the trampoline. They can be really led by their interests and their mood at the time, which of course changes all of the time. And it's very much about noticing what our bodies are telling us and kind of connecting with that. And then we can begin to work in this more kind of, thinking about, well, what are my feelings? What's going on internally? And that's how the work progresses, really. And some clients might be very cautious about coming inside. They might feel very claustrophobic, which is reflective of maybe something that's gone on with their, with their patterns, with their early infantile experiences with their parents. And other clients, they are quite frightened about going outside and having the space and having this, that might feel quite fragmenting and frightening for them. So depending on the individual, the progress looks very different. Sometimes it might be about enabling them to come inside into the room, and at other times it might be about working with the animals and being less scared of the ponies or whatever it is. But the choice, the opportunity, means that the work can just carry on. It can just carry on progressing rather than kind of getting stuck in one modality or one kind of thing. So I'm very much led by them rather than being restricted by me and the environment.
Yeah.
That was a gabble, sorry.
No, that was...
No, it's making me think about what you said earlier, in the sense of it's much easier to play with, children, or to work with children, I think actually was your phrase, than adults. But I was thinking, is it, if you don't have that strong connection internally yourself with your play and with your groundedness, and I was thinking, what makes you kind of stiff as a therapist? And is it because, and your fear of going out or being in the rain or being with the animals, or, and actually you have to be a kind of type of person, or potentially, I suppose this is a question, do we think that you have to have actually done a level of work with your own inner child or with your own connection, so this confidence is there? I'd say it's more of I work more with adults than I do children. I do work with children, but I make sure I'm only working with one or two at a time, because I think that there's this, and there has to be this different, what I find, there's this different confidence that I need internally in me. And so I'm wondering about, and all of you work wonderfully with children, but I'm wondering about those therapists that actually don't find that easy at all, and what is needed maybe to open that, if anything is.
Yeah. I was thinking when Kate was speaking before, and as you're, excuse me, speaking now, Ellie, it was about the relationship that we have with ourselves. And I was thinking while Kate was speaking about the relationship the client has with themselves, and how, you were sort of expressing, Kate, that whether that's going to be indoors or outdoors or with the animals. And I was imagining the animals as I would say object, but animals as things, animals as, to help reflect back around having a relationship with yourselves. That sort of dropped into my mind. But I think, Ellie, absolutely, it's connecting with that very playful part of ourselves in order to have that connection. Yeah.
That imagination.
Yes, yeah.
And maybe that is what's easier with children, that we're not kind of sat with someone that's blocking that, and then we're able to fall in the blocking of that ourselves, or so easily. And maybe that's what is easier with children, that it is, why can I not have a therapeutic relationship with a horse? Like, that's never crossed my mind that I can't, because I'm a child. And that's what's so lovely. Whereas an adult would maybe intellectualize that space for a few sessions before we can actually get to the work of the relational work.
Yeah.
But just interested in the difference there.
It's really, Ellie, really interesting, really fascinating kind of thought. I I probably would describe myself as being very playful and childlike. I think that I've had a few, so um I think when we weren't filming earlier, we started talking about me not going into the education system and being a teacher, and that is partly why. So I went into arts education, and I was workshop facilitator, lots of games, lots of play, lots of group work, lots of getting out, moving, having fun. Actually, that was such a huge part of the work. And I took that and brought it into my therapeutic work when I trained as a therapist. And yeah, people would say, oh, you know, I'm a bit like a children's TV presenter or something like that. And so that is part of me for sure. But I think that, the way that you were speaking earlier about the setting and having the confidence to be able to use it, actually, I think that people would be so surprised at how, because I was like, I knew that this would work. Like nobody's ever done this before. Like this, there's no blueprint for it. And I've gone through my training and I feel like I'm doing something wrong because everything that I'm trained like is within this context of in the room with the client.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm sitting there outside on the logs and I'm just like, oh, what am I doing here? I'm going against almost, not everything that I've learned, but this really significant part of the training, this containing indoor space. And it just took literally sessions for me to go, this is the way to work. This is it. Because there will be so many things that surprise you that you will just kind of go, it's almost like you can't tell it almost. You just have to experience what that feels like.
Mm.
And these kind of interruptions and these things, this awe that kind of comes out of nowhere. Like I've had I've had a fox come past the therapy room door. I've had birds of prey swooping through the field that we've been in when we've been working with the ponies. I've had frogs jumping out, and I say in my TED talk this amazing session with this client who was non-verbal, who let out a shriek for the first time in like 5 years. Like this shriek came out of nowhere, and it's just this accidental kind of spontaneity that happens that is so much more confined and restricted within a room. So you talk about the bravery of kind of, or like not the bravery, but the feeling unsure about going outside, but actually it just gives you so much more to work with. It's so much easier. I talk about it being easier to work with children, and I suppose that maybe is a bit to do with state of mind and how kind of young I am in myself. But yeah, it gives so many more opportunities. Like the other day, having quite a tricky session with this negative transference with this client, and we were working with the ball in the trampoline, and we were kind of a bit stuck, I suppose, and I was commenting on, oh, it feels we don't feel that joined up, or I keep on dropping it, or we're not matched up at the moment, and it flew up and it went, the net that goes around the trampoline, it flew up and it just glided across the top of this trampoline, and we both went, and then there was this connection. Like those experiences are so much less frequent, so it's so difficult, so much more difficult to get those experiences when you're just in this indoor confined space. So yeah, I think it's easier is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the word that's coming to mind as you're talking is just open, the openness that's there and that's allowed, and you also as therapist being open to whatever may come. So being open to those connections and the richness of that.
Yeah.
And as you were saying earlier, Kate, around the kind of the symbolic way of being as well, that you can use so much outside. You don't have to necessarily use the objects that are inside the room, but there is so much in nature that can be very symbolic and very supportive. Yeah.
so
And those
much.
moments that you were talking about just happening that don't happen often, I feel like they're happening less in life
Yeah.
as well, externally, in our day to day, those kind of feel like I have to stop people and take in the sun or the stillness of the water as you're walking past, or the roses that budded in England, because we have people that listen all over the world, but in England we had a really hot or warm November, and I was seeing roses starting to bud again. But that, I feel like that was so much easier to get to a couple of years back to what it is now. I don't know if that's your guys' experiences also, but those moments you're talking about in session, they're almost more beautiful to be able to get there, because potentially for these people as well, they're
Mm.
not external as much either.
That's pausing, isn't it? It's almost like just taking a moment and taking a pause, which, yes, quite right. We don't do that so much now. Yeah.
This is so important to why I'm doing what I'm doing, is the context of, what we're actually living in, especially for children and young people growing up today, because we had it so much easier. They have it so hard. And
Yeah.
what you're talking about is stopping and smelling the roses,
Yes.
giving
Yeah.
yourself enough time to stop and smell the roses, that beautiful phrase. There isn't enough time. There aren't enough opportunities. And so what I'm saying is, what we need to do is we need to embed this into the provisions and services that we're providing to children. It should be in the schools, it should be in therapeutic settings, as many settings that we can get into, because it's unfortunately a privilege at the moment, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be. It should be a birthright.
Yeah.
And I have people come that just don't. I mean, the statistics are wild about how much less people play out.
Yeah.
And free outdoor play is just reduced so much. And then, you know, yeah, just technology just invading us into every kind of possible space and opportunity. We've become like these consumers of tech, haven't we, and digitalization. So yeah, not to kind of get too down, but you can hear my kind of tone dropping, because it's very sad. And so this is not an antidote as such, but it's a response to that in part.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the seriousness, you're talking about the seriousness of our situation, I think, currently.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is very serious, and we do need to take action, and that's why I talk in this way of revolutionizing child therapy, is because we do need to do that. We had COVID, which has inspired things like this, for us to be able to do a podcast and on Zoom like this is fantastic, and to be able to move therapeutic work into spaces like this, such a positive response. The lockdowns have just kind of pushed us in a way that we wouldn't have reached without it. But now we need that urgency around this. Now we need that urgency around access to outdoor nature
Yeah.
spaces and freedom of choice. It's really important.
Thinking
So
about that, Kate, that revolutionary idea, which you've brought into your work, I'm wondering if you can tell us a bit more about your space, what you're able to offer there. Do you work with groups in this space as well as one-to-one? Wondering if you can give us a little bit more detail.
of course. So this is my therapeutic room. I've nearly run out of my grass. I'm just going to get a bit more. Honestly, it looks like an absolute mess down here. Yeah, so this is my therapeutic space, and I have all of the things that you might imagine in the actual indoor space. It's got loads of art materials, loads of train tracks and models and natural bits and pieces. And then I've got there's lots of light as well that comes in here. So there's this skylight, and there's French doors. and then it just goes out into the garden. And actually the garden is the space that clients see first. They come through the gates and we go out into that space first. I'll just describe it as I walk it. On the right hand side there's a little allotment, and then there's some stables which the ponies don't use, so I've just put some guinea pigs in there, which is the most luxurious space that you can imagine, that the guinea pigs just run around in there having a whale of a time. But there's 2 seats in there as well, so we can go in and sit with the guinea pigs and maybe have them on laps, maybe just sit there and watch. There's a ping pong table, table tennis table rather, and lots of games and outdoor bits and pieces. And then it's this 2.5 acres natural kind of woodland garden really, and loads of beautiful trees. And as you say, the seasons kind of shift, and we can bring all of that into the work, how things have changed week by week. Then there's the trampoline, the stepping stones, the swings. I've got this tree, it's called the mother tree. This is what I call her. She is absolutely epic. She's about 300 years old. She's no
Wow.
And she's just got all of these arms, like, and they're quite low, and she just does this in the breeze. She's incredible. So I've hung quite a lot of nest swings and hammocks and bits and pieces on her, and there's a little climbing frame. And then the track kind of the paths kind of wind through these trees, and I've cut through some bushes. So there's lots of different pathways, and there's like a circle that looks like it might, I don't actually have fires here, although my insurance tell me that I can have fires. It hasn't really ever come up, although I would be open to that. But things to kind of look under and go bug hunting and be curious together, which is, of course, what we're trying to do in therapeutic work itself, is to be curious together and find things out together, a bit like detectives. So we're kind of exploring this space. I've got the pigs and the goats and the ponies and the chickens, the space itself is much more than just a physical space. It becomes like it can become like a representative of me, and they kind of are exploring me as they get here. And although I'm this kind of blank canvas and they can project things onto me, they still have more information than just the room. And the ponies can become, transitional objects, and they can help us to do the work in that sense as well. And they get to see me being quite maternal with these animals, and I think that helps them to kind of go, oh, okay, she's all right, she's safe. So yeah, that can be a really big help. So again, it's just easier, and then I get to see them doing whatever they're doing in all of these different environments, which of course observation skills for us as therapists highly important on the agenda, and it just makes my work easier. So yeah, and I love it. So I'm clearly having a nice time when I'm working, and yeah, I think that kind of helps them to see that it's not hard work.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to hear that in your voice. I can really hear the passion when you're talking about it. And I'm wondering, you've spoken about sort of how you sort of landed in your space. And it's really important, as well as you said, to find ways to recreate this in other settings. So I'm wondering, where are you? I know that you've been at a conference this week and you've got some talks coming up. So I'm kind of wondering, how are you managing to find ways to bring your very special, space, and to educate others about it?
I think I need to teach. So I used to be at the University of Essex, where I was lead in arts education, and I loved that job. I basically could just do what I wanted and just have a whale of a time doing all these crazy things and seeing all of these different academics and linking things up. And then I taught there, I lectured, so I designed and delivered a module which was all about training students up to do a similar thing in the local community. And I think I need to lecture again. I think I need to teach. I think I don't know how, I don't know what the next bit is, but I feel like something like that needs to happen. I'm writing a book. With ADHD, that's quite hard. I've got lots of papers that I kind of get drawn into, and I'm forever looking at things and going, oh, and I've just read something about the old dopamine hit that actually is, and this makes complete sense, that it's not about finishing something that we get the buzz out of. It's actually about the idea of starting something. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where the dopamine hit comes in. So I need to be, I'm very aware of that. I need to be careful of that. But without a doubt, without the ADHD, I wouldn't have come up with this. Yeah.
So it is, in a way, it's a resource, isn't it? Because I'm just imagining how rich your book is going to be for all of these angles that you have and all these lenses that you have to bring all that information into one book. So I can imagine it going to be very, very rich.
Thank you. I'm writing two. I think I'm writing the first one is more about me and my journey, because I needed Ellie, you were talking earlier about this work that you do before you can do the work with the clients, and it's totally true. And I've had a lot of learning to do in my life, and yeah, I think in a way, I think Kate's Garden was a bit of a symptom of what I needed, because I needed, this is what I needed when I was a child, and like that it wasn't available. And so I couldn't have the support that I needed as a child. I just couldn't access it. I couldn't, I talk about it in my TED talk, going to this hospital and going to this room, and it just was not right. It wasn't right, and so I couldn't access it. It's so much different nowadays, but yeah, still it's quite hard. So I definitely created Kate's Garden as a response to what I needed as a child, and to what I see that children of today need more than ever. And so yeah, my book is kind of just unpicking that, really, my first one. And then my second one, if I get the first one finished, will be more about Kate's Garden. Because I started writing about Kate's Garden and it just became a memoir. And that wasn't what I wanted that to be. So I thought I'll get that one done and then I'll do the next one. But yeah, writing, conferences, speaking, podcasts like this, just to get it out there, really.
Amazing. I was also wondering, just from the creative side of things, and obviously creating Kate's Garden has been such a journey for you. As art psychotherapists, we use art all the time in all our sessions. It's there in one way or another. And I'm wondering about art in your life, and obviously how you bring that in for your clients, but also for yourself. I'm wondering if you use art itself as a support, as a way of being and processing, or how it comes in for you.
That's such a lovely question. So art for me was huge in my life. It meant so much. It was the thing that I just did. It gave me safety. I've been creating since I was a little girl. Like whatever it was, I'd kind of turn it into a thing. I was just thinking about playing with my mum's earrings, actually, and she had this little earring stand, and all of these really long kind of earrings with these beads that kind of came down, and these just, oh, they were just beautiful. I don't have my ears pierced, but I was obsessed with them when I was little. And she had this little thing that was like made of wood, and I'd spin it around and all of these earrings would go flying. They would just fly. And so I think that when you do things like that, that's art. That's kind of turning something into something else.
Yeah.
And I used to do this really strange thing where I'd go around and get toilet roll, the middle of toilet rolls. They're such a brilliant thing, aren't they, for children to make stuff with? But I used to just wet them up and make these like little carrier things. I don't know why, I just did. So I've just always done stuff, and I struggled in my secondary school. I put so much pressure on myself. I became very poorly. I was working till really late in the evening, or like 2 o'clock in the morning. I developed OCD and intrusive thoughts and all this stuff that I had no words for. I didn't know what it was. It was just there, and I just hid it because I thought there was something embarrassing or, wrong with me, which of course there wasn't. And then things kind of eased off, and went to college and got to do arts, and then went to do foundation art, and then I did fine art, and I came out with an amazing 3-year experience. So basically, I was just exploring what it felt like to have all of this information come at me
Wow.
really fast. So I had no idea whatsoever that I had ADHD, that I was exploring this thing, which was actually a thing. I just thought it was the world. Yeah, then went in to do arts. I worked at a filmmaking charity for a while, called Signals Media, and did all these amazing workshops with these amazing children. And yeah, then I went to the university and delivered arts education. I found that through my job and through I renovated houses as well, through that that I was kind of getting what I felt that I needed, that kind of expression, and I wasn't creating. I'm going to tell you something now. That is about what happened when I was doing my fine art degree. I was obsessed with doing everything perfectly. I was a perfectionist, and I'm a recovering perfectionist now. And I just got a buzz off getting that high grade. So I was a first class student the whole way through my 3 years, and I got my result, and I got a 2-1, and I was like, what? What is this? Because I was very proud of my final artwork. I made this amazing kinetic sculpture, and all of this stuff was coming towards you, and all these cogs, and it was fantastic. I loved it. Broke my leg, and they gave us a decision. Like, we had a decision to make, which was basically they told us that we couldn't use our studio spaces for our final show. So we would have to go out and find other spaces. So I grouped with these other people, and we found this space, and other people didn't do anything. They just kind of waited and hoped it would be okay. And I was just like, no, we need to do something, very driven. And yeah, at the end, they said, oh no, you can have the space. So I was like, oh, okay. But now these people over there, they had an exhibition, and there was a big chunk that was going to be missing. That was my work. So I was like, I'll do two. And I broke my leg at the same time. So I'm literally hobbling with my backpack and my drill from building to building. There's no disabled access. These are steps. And the hospital have given me the wrong, what are they called? Crutches, the wrong crutches. So I'm these crutches that are like these wooden ones, like from World War II. And yeah, I do it. I do it. I exhaust myself. I'm completely spent, and I do it. I've got these 2 exhibitions, smashed it. So proud of myself, like fantastic. And they came back to me and they said, we couldn't understand the relationship between that show and that show. We couldn't understand the relationship. So they downgraded me. And I was like,
Yeah. With your broken leg, maybe.
I was like, that's not okay. Like, I did it for these reasons, the reasons that
Yeah.
have been caused by the course, and it affected me massively. And I stopped.
Mm.
I stopped. I got my grade. I got my first class grade because I wrote a letter and they changed it. They were like, "Oh, sorry about that. You know, we shouldn't have done that. Um, we made a mistake." And I was like, "It's too late. You've broken something."
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
And I held on to that for a really long time. So instead of coming out and just carrying on working, I just kind of put it all into other people and
Yeah.
help facilitate other people's.
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
haven't really done anything since, apart from the work with clients and my children, which I adore.
Yeah.
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 There's something very poignant when I listen to you, Kate,
Yeah.
about kind of restructuring, reforming, reshaping. It's like a thread that kind of goes through, even down to your broken leg that needs to be reformed and
Uh-huh.
there's just something about that sort of thread that goes through your learning and your work, and yes, even now as a therapist. Yeah.
Mm. Is there anything left over? Is there any want to go back to
Massive,
something?
massive. Yeah. I just don't quite know how.
Mm. Yeah.
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 I just don't quite. And I have tried, and I'm like, oh, I'll do a thing a week, and it won't matter, and I'll just do a thing and get it done, and I just don't.
No. Maybe that's making me think of your two books as well, your story
Yeah.
versus the story of
Yeah.
working with the garden, and both are very precious, very needed stories to be heard. And what we do as therapists when we just write the academic story, just write the relationship with the other story, and forget our own, what are we really doing,
Mm.
is making me
Mm.
think. I'm very happy you are writing both, Kate, is what I'm sat with right now. I think that's
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Mm.
Absolutely. When I think about, I yes, I'm just so thankful that you are writing these books. I work in a school a couple of days a week. It's a special school, and they have an amazing grounds. We have some goats. We have, so we they have a massive polytunnel. There's a lot of outdoor learning. So,
Oh, good.
and these children are generally majority of from sort of developmental trauma, and also neurodiverse. So to be able for them, I think, to be able to hear somebody else's story of school, of mainstream school being incredibly difficult, and actually this is what you would have wanted, and this is what you would have needed, and how that would support you, not just sort of academically learning, but just learning in life and developing. I think that's going to be so important, and also really important to, again, just to get that word out there that this is what we need more of. We need more of, yeah, for sure.
Also, I'm just thinking, yeah, taking that idea, Fleur, about how important that is to share that part of your story with those who are experiencing their own journeys through education. I'm just thinking, Kate, what you shared with us was so wonderful to hear as therapists, and all the therapists who are going to tune in and hear this. And there's something about this expectation of therapists that we've got it all together and we're like, we're sorted. But actually, our journey just always just, of course, it goes on and on. But and these barriers and these blocks, and we might hold an awareness, but we don't have the answers. And it's just so lovely to kind of connect with that in what you have shared, that we all have this part of us that is continuing to grow and learn and understand. And will we get there? I really don't know, but there's always this movement forward, and it's just really lovely to hear that.
Yeah, back to the freedom and flow.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
mm,
In our conversation. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm thinking of your ribbons.
yeah,
yeah.
We've full circled there a little bit.
I feel like, yeah, like we should dance off into each little, like at the moment, obviously Zoom corners, with our little sort of bit of tools. Just
I was going to bring a chicken in, but then I thought it might be a distraction.
Oh, I wish you
No,
had.
where would that have taken us?
I'd love to see your guinea pigs, actually, Kate. That would have been lovely.
Talk
Yeah.
about phenomenological experience. And let's work with that. Yeah.
It reminds me of I don't know that during lockdown, I don't know if you remember, there was or heard of it, there was a goat. I don't know if you heard of it on the news, because someone had like she'd made a lot of money from just having the goat present in the meetings, so she would get paid for her goat to be in a Zoom call just to liven things up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gosh, we need it that badly. When it's just there outside for us, that we need to pay someone to bring their goat into our meetings. Gosh, our system needs a shake up, doesn't it?
It does. That's what we're here to do, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shake it up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was so lovely hearing your story, Kate, today.
you.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and if you put on any workshops in a teaching sense for other therapists or whatever, I would love
we'd be
to.
there.
Yeah, we would be
Oh,
there.
thank you.
Yeah,
That's
I'd
really
love to.
kind of you. This has been a really lovely experience, actually. I for the conference, I wasn't sure whether I was going to, I mean, I was pretty sure that I was going to use my notes, but I had a thought that maybe I wouldn't use my notes for the conference. And I did take my notes, and it was very scripted, and it didn't feel like me. It didn't feel very authentic, and I didn't run to time because I was so, hell bent on getting all of this information across. This pressure of getting it all in there is something that I think the education system doesn't do us any favors in that regard as well. This kind of one right answer and having to show everything. This output pressure, really. And so this has been a really lovely contrasting experience to just kind of come in and just chat with you and not have any notes and just have grass and just
Just have the grass.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
we often find that in conversations where it takes us, we are quite adaptable in terms of the journey where it takes us and what comes up. And yeah.
And that's what I suppose in the therapeutic sense, Kate's Garden emulates that, because we have to be responsive and spontaneous. And so that kind of containment, it doesn't come from the room. We can't rely so heavily upon the room. We have to rely upon us. And we get to prove ourselves to the client in a way that we are responsive, and we get to show them that this way of working, it's not scary. Actually, it's not. So you've just reaffirmed that with me, that actually this isn't scary and I can do this. So thank you very much, properly, from the bottom of my heart. I think this has been a really important thing for me to do. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Kate. And I'm really excited to see what you do next, and can't wait to see what that might be.
To bring your book on next, Kate.
No
Write
pressure.
it. Has anyone written a book? I would just like to know how to do it, and then I'll just do it.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to save up enough money to have a ghostwriter, to be honest. So I could just walk the room, and they ask me questions.
The
write it
prompting
down.
questions. It's a bit like you guys with me, what you've done with me today.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It will be recorded.
Yes.
You can go back and
write it all down.
Well, I hope everyone else externally has enjoyed it as much as we have today. And Yeah, we'll put little notes underneath our talk on Spotify or Apple
Yeah.
Music or YouTube, wherever you pick it up, all about Kate and Kate's garden
Yeah.
and any other links for you as well, Kate, and send us through anything you feel that is important. But if that is a nice finish, then I'd like to say goodbye from me and us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you so much.
yes, thank you for sharing your story. Yeah. So bye bye from me.
Yeah. And bye from me. Till next time.
Yeah. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.